8강까지 와서 사람들이 기억한다고 생각은 안 하고 더 높은 곳 올라가서 꾸준히 좋은 모습 보이면서 해야지 기억해 주실 것 같아요.
8강에 올라간 것만으로도 대단하다고 생각하고요. 근데 작년에 저희가 결승을 갔으니까 저희가 만족하려면 결승까지는 가야 되지 않을까 싶습니다.
상대가 북미 팀인데 그냥 중국의 국민이어서 보여줘야 되지 않을까요?
Worlds is definitely the best place to prove yourself as a player. I just want to show that I can step up against these world-class players and show them how to play the game.
The opinions about me are either really negative or really positive. Even though I've had a lot of world appearance, I just have to prove myself over and over every time.
Playing the quarterfinals, it's been a success from us, but I don't want just to stop there. If we beat SKT, we're gonna make our names and everyone will remember us.
SKT 그냥 이름 자체로만 해도 우승이라는 타이틀에 좀 많이 가깝잖아요.
我觉得从小组赛走到8强、4强，这些都只是一个过程。不管是什么体育运动，大家记得永远都是冠军。
Welcome to Guangzhou, China for Worlds 2017. You join us as we open the next chapter of the tournament live from our new home for the quarterfinals, the Guangzhou Gymnasium. 8 teams remain in the battle for the Summoners Cup, and only one best of 5 separates them from experiencing Shanghai on the stage or in the stands. And as you can see, we've moved cities and the fandom has followed. The Chinese crowd proving to be a very loud one here in Guangzou. 2 teams battling it out today. Let's send it over to Rengdon here in Guangzhou Gymnasium to introduce the teams as they take the stage.
大家好，我是任栋。接下来，让我们一起请出2017英雄联盟全球总决赛4分之一决赛的2支战队，欢迎战队登场。首先，让我们欢迎的是红方来自于 LCK 赛区的3星战队
Samsung Galaxy. Challenging perhaps the tournament favorites today, but let's not forget that they were finalists just last year.
打野 Ambition， 中路 Crown， 下路 Ruler， 辅助 CoJJ。同样欢迎他们的教练吴邦 Choi 以及替补打野 Haro。再次感谢3星战队的到来。接着，让我们欢迎的是蓝色方 LCK 1号种子龙珠战队。
And the tournament favorites, the only regional 1 seed to qualify through to the knockout stage with a 6-0 dominating group stage performance.
上路看，打野 Kurtz， 中路 BDD。 下路 Prey， 辅助 Gorilla， 同样欢迎他们的教练江苏 Kim 以及替补上单 Raska。 再一次感谢龙珠战队的到来。英雄智主传奇比赛现在开始。
Longzhu and Samsung Galaxy, the first two teams to take to the stage here in Guangzhou for the quarterfinals. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm James Patterson, joined by my day one quarterfinal crew, Martin DeFicio Lunga, Alberto Crumbs Rengifo, and Isaac Azeo Cummings Bentley. We've moved cities. I'm glad to see y'all made it. No one missed their flights, but how are we doing? We ready for some knockout action?
I'm pretty ready. Like, looking at this one, Longzhu versus Samsung, a lot of people favor Longzhu, but I mean, Samsung here, they will show up, I think at least. They will at least bring something to the table.
What we know is that on the day, anything can happen. It was proved during group stages. You do get a best of 5 here to prove it. We'll see what happens. It's not just us delivering you the next stage of Worlds, though. We're joined by our international broadcast partners who help to bring the action to regions all across the globe. And as we enter the next stage of Worlds, let's go ahead and get an update on the championship prize pool. The stakes have been raised thanks to you guys at home. Currently, the total prize stands above $4 million with more than $1.8 million drawn from championship Ash and Ward sales. A reminder that 25% of those sales will continue to add to the prize pool, with another 25% being added to charity. Now you can add to the competition by raising money, or while rather raising money for a good cause by picking up your in-game swag today. As we move into the best of 5s, let's get a reminder of how the knockout stage draw played out. First up, we've got our best of 5 today, which pits Longzhu versus Samsung Galaxy. Then Misfits hope to continue their Worlds run as they face the reigning champions, SK Telecom T1. Rounding out the top side of the bracket, RNG take to the stage opposite Fnatic, with Team WE squaring off against Cloud9 on the final day of quarters.
Yeah, and it's going to be a really good match. It's crazy to think, as you said, this is a finalist from last year. Everyone is saying that Longzhu should smash it, but Samsung has shown that their preparation is excellent, and I'm very excited for the game today.
Without a doubt, 4 exciting best of 5s on our way as stakes continue to rise at the World Championship. Here are some of the players that we believe will be fundamental in finding success in Guangzhou. Here are our best of the rip, brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. For quarterfinals, it's Samsung Galaxy's top laner Kube, SKT's Huni, Fnatic's mid laner Caps, and Team WE's Mystic. First up, playing today, it's Samsung Galaxy's Kube.
And Kube has been one of the best top laners in the LCK, arguably the best top laner here in the tournament, playing a lot of carries. However, this tournament, he just has not had enough time to shine through. So if Samsung is going to put up that fight against Longzhu today, it's going to come off the back of him and his team enabling him.
And I think because Khan plays all those carry top laners, Kube is someone with that high variance coming out of Khan on those carries who could take over a game and could be that star who changes the series.
He was a top performer for the team last year. They're going to need him to be this year if they want to move on in the tournament. Next, we have SKT's Huni, who's been silently pressuring the top lane for the reigning champs.
Yeah, and I've been very impressed with Huni so far because he gets a lot of time in the side lane to get a lot of resources, and he's using them very well. He's getting towers. He's also joining teamfights being extremely strong because, again, he is so farmed. And the fact that Huni is going back to the style we used to see from SKT back at MSI and also back in Springs, but where he can be more of a carry, actually benefits him, gives him another weapon.
He's also shown the ability to pull off the split push styles when you think about against Cloud9, getting solo kills on impact, taking down turrets, taking down inhibitors. He has been able to flex his muscles in those side lanes as well as team fights.
Now alongside Huni is Fnatic's Caps, who was crucial in allowing his team to pull off the miracle run out of groups.
One of the new European mid laners obviously came into Fnatic here this year and have actually been doing much better doing Worlds than I expected. I thought there would still be issues for him in terms of decision making or being over aggressive when he shouldn't be it. He's actually done really well, especially week 2. I love the synergy we're starting to see between him and the rest of the team, and he's so important for Fnatic.
Oh, he's so important to the point that every time that they have a win, his stats go through the roof, but every time a loss, Caps just doesn't seem to be there. So the team is quite bipolar in their performance, and it hinges on him.
Perhaps the linchpin for success for that squad. Joining Caps is another player who was able to make the run from play-ins to quarters. It's Team WE's Mystic.
And it's been all uphill since the play-in. Mystic has been getting better, week in, week out. WE plays so heavily through the bot lane that their success is based on this player, and he has been crushing it in lane, best CSD in the tournament for a bot lane marksman, and he's so good in the mid and late game team fights as well.
Good enough to make the final?
Good enough to make semifinal.
I guess it's something. It's something.
All right, there's the call. I don't have to ask you for your prediction then when that series comes around. We'll see if these players can book a trip to Shanghai this weekend. From the first CS to the Flame Horizon, you can follow the best of the Rift in more places than ever before. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Now, as we look towards our matches this weekend, it's important to point out that we saw a significant addition to the world's meta towards the end of Week 2 groups in Caitlyn.
Exactly. Caitlyn came in because a lot of dual lanes were playing, like Relic Shield AD carries. Twitch was in there as well, then Janna Lulu. So you had these super bad early game dual lanes that you could really punish with a strong laner. So Caitlyn made it back into the meta because she can push, she can take towers, and these supports like Janna and Lulu can't really engage on her and punish her.
And she's been so effective as kind of that bot lane counter pick, 4-0 in the tournament so far, always picked as an answer, not blind so far. And when people are going full late game, you can swing the game completely around, push for these siege comps, and just crush through your opponents, get enormous gold leads before they're ever ready to fight.
Well, we did hear that Caitlyn seemed to be so oppressive that people were either banning it or just having to first pick it, but I do think that we're going to see some variation where teams figure out, just as Caitlyn was an answer to the late game meta, what is now the answer to the Caitlyn? We have Ashe, we have Varus, which today is going to happen as Prey and Ruler love those two picks.
Or we might see some teams say, okay, we need a really strong mid laner that can push and roam down to the bottom lane, because Caitlyn will, of course, overextend when she's trying to hit that tower. But you got to find an answer, because right now, she's on average 1,500 gold ahead of the other AD carry at 15 minutes. That's crazy.
So let's remember that last year, it was the MF support pick that came out in response to Zyra during the knockout stages of Worlds. The question is, what would be the response here to a Caitlyn pick?
Well, the Ashe right now seems to be the one that is the #1 pick into it. She's got a great laning phase, and you typically force a cleanse out of your bottom lane because you don't want to get engaged on, so you do hinder that 2v2 potential, and you also slow down her pushing, as she has to be more aware of Ashe.
I definitely want to see Varus also as one of the picks being used against it, and as I said as well, you need some sort of aggression from your mid and jungle, so that when this Caitlyn is just permanent pushing, you can actually go down and gank her and kill her, and then if you kill her once or twice in lane, all her value is kind of gone because she's not killing that tower, and her mid game is extremely weak.
Also very excited to see if the Caitlyn is going as one of those early picks, what else is going to change? You know, if people are bringing in Ashe, that's less damage from the rest of your comp. You know, you don't have that hyper carry in the late game, so maybe you need more damage junglers, more damage tops, and the complete meta can shift.
With this in mind, let's focus in on today's matchup. We've got Samsung Galaxy versus Longzhu, and it's we have to remember, rather, that both of these teams played before that Caitlyn pick even made its showing.
And they've played even further than that. All summer long in the LCK, they have battled it out, and they have split series. But if you kept track of how these games have gone by, it has been all an upswing for Longzhu, and BDD here, or rather Prey, has been one of the pillars for this team, as he allows the backbone of the team to be so strong that Khan and Cuz can just take over with BDD.
And even in the final season, final split of the LCK, you know, they did 2-0 Samsung. They looked extremely dominant there, and you know, Samsung had struggles in groups. Longzhu did not. They have been looking so good.
All right, well, we talk about the differences in styles between these two teams, right? Samsung Galaxy, Longzhu. Let's hash that out a bit.
Well, we have Samsung, who is a very defensive team. They want to not do too many things in the early game, not take big risk, and then go to late game and try and win through big late game team fights, or you may be messing up at Baron and they punish you. Longzhu, on the other hand, it's much more focused on the early game, try and be more aggressive, get the advantages, especially also through the top lane, and that's why Cube is one of the guys we're looking at now on the screen, because he's one of the answers to Longzhu's way of playing in the early game.
And every time Cuvée and Khan have faced off, it actually has been the one time that Khan can't really just smash this lane. He has been able to keep up. At times, he's been able to actually do the reverse to Khan and just win games off him. So this matchup is so crucial for both these teams to allow them to have a strong pick, a strong 2v2 in the jungle, and then snowball the game early on. That's where I think it's going to be dictated.
I mean, that said, within this tournament, Khan seems to be the one guy that has an answer to everything, right? We saw the Nash's pick come out in the face of a Maokai, so has an answer to the tanks, is willing to play the carries. It's a tough task, right, to go up against a guy of this caliber.
I mean, that's a problem when you play against Longzhu and they're like superstar players in every single lane at the moment. But still, Khan, he is a guy who will overextend. And I think if you have like a very active jungler in this game here from Samsung, if you have QA on a good champion who can actually punish Khan, you can definitely try and shut him down when he is split pushing and get that top lane advantage.
All right, well, with those factors in mind, who do you think is going to be the first team to book a trip to Shanghai? Down the line, Officio, starting with you.
I'm going Longzhu. I was originally on 3-0 for Longzhu, but I went back, I looked even more at Samsung, and I'm like, you know what, it's a 3-1.
Okay.
Well, I think stylistically, Longzhu actually counters a lot of what Samsung wants to do, because you got to shut down Longzhu early. Samsung can't really do it. I do think they have at least one game where they get a counter pick top maybe and get QV rolling. Maybe they get a Caitlyn bot lane and they can win bot side. Or they just have the better late game team fight and they actually stall it past 40 minutes. But again, it's one game only.
Looking at preparation from Samsung Galaxy to
There are a
buy
few
them a
win
win
conditions.
somewhere. All right, Crumbs, what are you thinking?
I'm actually with the Fishy on this as well. I was initially 3-0, but then 3-1 because not just preparation. We've only really seen one best of 5 series from Longzhu, and when they typically faltered, especially against Samsung, it has been in that draft when they kind of overstep their boundaries and Samsung punishes it. So I think that they're going to be able to do that again. It's best of 5. It's going to happen one time at least.
A sliver of hope given to the Samsung Galaxy roster from these guys. Azael, what do you think?
I'm breaking the trend from the rest of these sheeple. I think it's still going to be a 3-0, and it's because of what Martin actually talked about. Yes, you can get, I think, a counter pick or a good matchup for Kuve in the top lane, but it's dependent on the 2v2. Ambition has 0 kills and 0 assists in 75 minutes of gameplay pre-15 this tournament. That is abysmal, and when you talk about that jungle at 2v2, he's not doing anything in the early game. I feel like he needs to get involved in the early game for them to have any chance. So unless Ambition can show some serious change here, I think Longzhu gets ahead early and they run away with it.
All right, well, that's what our analysts had to say. And if we look at how the pick'ems played out, Longzhu were chosen to come out ahead in 83% of all of the pick'ems. So it seems to be mirrored in
all
the community
agree.
sentiment. All right. Well,
Great job, everyone.
So proud of you guys. With the riff set, let's send it over to Freak, Papa Smithy, and Kobe to bring us into our first